In this video, I want to introduce you to Dr. McCoy, not Bones McCoy from Star Trek fame, but Dr. Alfred W. McCoy. My introduction to Dr. McCoy was through a rather voluminous and droll academic research book entitled Policing America's Empire. And in that work, Dr. McCoy shed at least some light on how governments, including the U.S., utilize psychological principles and social engineering techniques to control and manipulate the general population. Drawing on extensive research and historical analysis, Dr. McCoy exposes the ways in which government agencies and their agents employ tactics pioneered by psychologists like Edward Bernays, people like Noam Chomsky, Ayn Rand, Saul Alinsky, and potentially millions of YouTube and social media, TikTok, X influencers, and how governments use those to shape and influence public opinion, how they influence behavior, and ultimately how they utilize those tools to maintain their position of power. By examining Dr. McCoy's insights and expanding upon them from both a philosophical and psychological approach, we can better understand the dangers of entrusting government agencies and their agents, and literally any other organizational structure with such abilities. We can further explore alternative approaches that prioritize individual, familial, and local community freedoms and introduce a more systemically sustainable path for human growth and development, rather than trying to control and manipulate the individual, the family, and the local governments. In Policing America's Empire and his other works, Dr. McCoy explores the intersection of state power, psychological manipulation, and social control. He very carefully and meticulously documents how government agencies, particularly intelligence services and law enforcement, have employed techniques derived from psychological research to shape public perceptions, manage dissent, and maintain social order. Among the key figures in this narrative is Edward Bernays, often regarded as the father of modern public relations and propaganda. Bernays' theories on mass manipulation and the engineering of consent have been influential in shaping government strategies for controlling both public opinion and behavior. For those of you who may not be familiar with his work, just Google the torches of freedom. At the heart of Dr. McCoy's analysis is the recognition that governments wield immense power over the minds and behaviors of their citizens. Through techniques such as propaganda, psychological warfare, and mass surveillance, they seek to mold public perceptions, shape cultural norms, and suppress dissent, thus maintaining their power and control over the individual and the family and local governments. Dr. McCoy goes through all the relevant documents in history, showing how even as early as 1898, future influential politicians and other members of what we may call the deep state these days got their start in what was effectively or essentially the deep state of the day, and how they gathered and used metadata to blatantly manipulate the masses. And no, metadata is not just a computer thing. And for those who don't know, the earliest recorded use of metadata was actually in the Library of Alexander the Great, the library at Alexandria. By tapping into primal desires, fears, and insecurities that were exposed and made vulnerable from the gathering just of the metadata, the government agencies and their agents can influence individuals and communities and encourage, if not force them, to act in ways that serve the direct interest of those in power, not the interest of the people. However, Dr. McCoy's work also highlights the dangers inherent in this approach. By entrusting government agencies and their agents, or again, any other organizational structure with this kind of authority to manipulate public opinion and behavior, societies risk eroding individual autonomy, fostering conformity, and undermining democratic and republican principles. And no, those are not just political parties either. Those are very distinct and unique forms of governmental systems. The centralized concentration of power in the hands of a select few can, and historically always has, virtually always has, I can think of no instance when it has not, but the centralized concentration of that power in the hands of the government or organizational structures of any kind has historically led to abuses of authority, violations of civil liberties, and the erosion of trust between citizens and their governments. Not to mention the slaughter of literally tens of millions of civilians that has historically happened every time a new benevolent dictator or distant despot has come to power. Moreover, Dr. McCoy's analysis further underscores the ethical implications of employing psychological techniques for social control. Manipulating public opinion and behavior through propaganda and psychological warfare raises questions about the moral legitimacy of such tactics and the implications for human dignity and freedom. See the Nuremberg trials. Just following orders really doesn't cut it. I mean, you know, they're trying to get away with informed consent now, without informed consent. They're trying to do away with informed consent. But it's for the public good, it's for the public safety. Such are the cries always of dictators. So, you know, they're doing it for your own protection. By treating individuals and family units as mere objects to be manipulated, governments risk dehumanizing their citizens and undermining the values of democracy, republicanism, equality, and justice itself. To address these challenges, it is necessary to introduce a fundamental shift in philosophical and psychological approaches to governance and social organizational structure. Rather than viewing individuals, the family, and local communities as passive subjects to be controlled, governments and other organizational structures, such as our foundation, must embrace a model of empowerment and liberation that prioritizes decentralized, individual, familial, and localized autonomy, at least semi-autonomous in nature, individual agency, and the ability to flourish for the individual, for the family, and for the local community. This process entails fostering critical thinking, civic engagement, and participatory decision-making processes that empower the individual, the family, and the local community to shape their own destinies and contribute to the common good. Okay, we want to encourage them to understand the benefit to the individual by contributing to the common good, and through that encourage better behavior. There's always going to be outliers. There's always going to be fringes. There's always going to be those that will not contribute or even become members, functioning members of society. That has to be planned for. It has to be accepted. That's just a reality of human nature. That is part of the existential nature of humanity, and it has to be prepared for. The foundation, in its most basic form, advocates for a more holistic approach to human development that recognizes the interconnectedness or the integration of the individual, the family, and local communities. By promoting a social cohesion, okay, not by promoting social disruption or sowing the seeds of discord or discontent, but by promoting social cohesion and creating a social fabric that is not wholly dependent on a centralized power or center of control, the foundation can create the ideal conditions for systemically sustainable human growth and development. This requires localized support that enables both the individual and the family to thrive and to achieve their full potential in both a corporeal and existential form. It further encourages both the individual and family unit to work towards the community good by educating the individual and addressing how an improved community median quality of life reflects on the individual and the family, allowing them to enjoy a better median quality of life at the same time. Ultimately, the work of Dr. McCoy challenges us to rethink our assumptions about power, governance, social organization, and human nature and control. By exposing the dangers of state-sponsored manipulation and control, he invites us to envision a more just, equitable, and humane society where individuals, families, and local communities are more free to pursue their own paths and contribute to the common good in ways that are much more efficient and effective. through both philosophical and psychological approaches that prioritize localized individual and familial autonomy and empowerment and even solidarity, the foundation can chart a new course towards a more systemically sustainable path for human growth and development, where humanity, the environment, and life as a whole is substantially more sustainable and inclusive. Indeed, the golden path forward for systemically sustainable human growth and development. So if you'd like to know more, or you'd like to discuss it in any detail, we'd love to get in touch with you, and please let us know. Like, subscribe, leave a comment in the section below, and in the comment section below, and we'll get back to you. Always happy to discuss it. Thank you. Bye. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment below.